Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie and I just finished doing my medlar video. So I'll link that up above just in case you don't know what a medlar is. But now it's time for me to do a very late lawn care. This is near the end of November. We've had a wonderfully mild fall where everything went dormant normally. And now we've had our first couple of really deep freezes and I'm ready to do my lawn care. Ideally, I would have done the fertilizing mid-October, but I say better late than never. So I'm going to clean up some of the leaves. I'm going to mow the lawn, which is really late to be mowing the lawn, but I just haven't had the time and energy to do that, and do some fertilizing. As you can see, there's a lot of leaves on the lawn, and there's a lot of memes going around the internet that say that you should just leave your leaves where they've fallen. Now, in some places, that's okay. If you have mulch and the leaves are not forming thick mats that are impenetrable to water, then that is fine. Just remember, though, that those leaves do not stay put when the wind blows. So I am the neighbor at the bottom of the hill. Everybody who lets their leaves lie where they fall, those leaves get blown away and end up in my yard, and they're like, wow, the leaves have decomposed. Well, they're decomposing in my compost pile is where they're decomposing. If you crush them up, run them through a lawnmower and use them as a mulch, then they have less of a chance of blowing away. Now, on a lawn like this, don't leave the leaves, especially when they're this big, because everywhere that they're lying, it's depriving that lawn of sunshine, and it's depriving it of oxygen, and sometimes it's even depriving it of water. So if you do this, you'll get dead spots that take a long time to come back. I learned that the hard way. When I first bought this house, I bought it in we started the purchase process in October, and it was January and the snow had fallen by the time that the purchase was complete. It took quite a while. This was back in 2009. And there was a bunch of leaves that were on the lawn. I thought, I'll just clean them up in the spring. Well, I had dead spots for 2 years after that. And so I learned really early on that we need to clean up the leaves in the lawn. Now, you can mow them up and just let them lie there, but I like to make compost out of them. So let's start raking, get the leaves cleaned up, and then if we have time today, we'll mow the lawn. If not, we'll mow it another day and continue filming then. So today I think I'm going to start with the dog run, but let me show you kind of all the different areas that I will be raking up today. So this is the dog run from when I used to have dogs. Maybe someday again I'll have dogs. But we've got a few leaves down at the bottom down here. And they get increasingly thick as we get up to the top because of these huge cottonwood trees. Now these are my neighbor's trees, and they dump a ton of leaves into my yard. And I'm not too upset about that because they provide me with a lot of free compost. Now I'll link up at the top a video I did of planting garlic, and in that video I'll show you what my compost looks like. And it's mostly these leaves. As you can see, there's a ton of them up here. And if I leave them on the grass like this, they are going to kill the grass. So I've got to get all of the leaves out of here. We also have leaves from my choke cherry. And those are the purple leaves down here. Let's show you the hillside that I'm going to rake. So this is my hillside. And normally you would think it would be a good thing to leave the leaves on the hillside so that they can be a form of mulch and also fertilize all the plants up here. But there is one issue, and it was a gift from the previous homeowner. This entire hillside is covered with professional grade weed mat. Now what that weed mat does is it does stop the erosion of the hillside, but it also prevents all of these leaves from decomposing properly and going into the soil. So what happens is they end up forming a deep mat that becomes impenetrable to water and oxygen, and it will kill these plants. So I do need to get the majority of these leaves off of this hillside. So what I do is I climb up there with my old legs. I've done this every year for 15 years now, and it's not my favorite job. But I rake them all down onto the lawn, and then I put those in the compost bin. So I think the only area that I'm going to work on today, and the only area that really needs it right now, is my lawn. So here we have all the leaves raked up. We have a clean lawn up above. Clean lawns make my heart feel good. If I go into the winter with a ton of spring cleanup left over that I know I'm going to have to get to in the spring, it makes my winter really stressful because all I can think of is all those leaves that are getting matted down and soggy, and that it's going to take a lot more work to clean up in the spring. So I like to get them cleaned up. Over here, we've got this all cleaned up. It's a little messy still, but that's okay. Those leaves are small enough that if they get blown onto the lawn, they're not going to kill it or anything. And then we've got the passion vine mulched. So let's head over and get my wheelbarrow and get these up into the compost bin, and I'll show you how I start building my compost. Now, I'm not too worried about all the insects and caterpillars that everybody says that I'll be killing. These leaves have only been on the ground for about a week to a week and a half during the coldest part of the fall, and any bugs that were going to be laying eggs or spinning chrysalises should have done that a while ago. And I have plenty of other areas on my hillside where they can build their homes. Now, these are going into the compost bin, and they can build their home in the compost bin if they want to. The other thing that I'm going to be avoiding is possibly some of the bad insects, you know, like the earwigs and stuff like that, that I really don't want for next year. So let's get this started. Here we are at my compost bins. Sorry for the shadow. They've been all cleaned out. Throw this stuff over here. They've been all cleaned out. This is last year's waste. We already have some leaves from my cherry tree above me that have fallen in there. And this is the leftover compost that I had. It's unscreened, but as you can see, it's still magnificent compost. Look at that. We do have some sticks and some mulch in there, but that's okay. What we're going to do with this is we're going to use it to mulch the trees down at the bottom of the hill, and we're also going to sprinkle several shovelfuls between layers of my compost. So the way I build my compost is a layer of leaves, a layer of garden waste, and then 2 or 3 shovelfuls of compost. That all gets wet down with that spray head right there. Now, I've done several videos on making compost, so I'll just link those above. I'm not going to film the process today because I am running out of time. I actually have a meeting that I need to go to. So I'm going to finish this video about lawn care. It's not actually about leaf cleanup, but leaf cleanup is part of lawn care. I'm going to finish this video on Saturday, I think, when I will be able to mow the lawn. So that is how I do my leaf cleanup. Welcome back. It's a new day. We've gotten quite a bit done. Let me show you what we're going to be doing next. All the leaves on the ground are going to be mowed. We've got our mower out here. I've actually got my son to help finish the leaf cleanup, and also he's going to be doing some of the filming. As you can see on the hill, I did not remove all the leaves, but we don't have that thick layer that's going to impede water flow. So all the leaves don't need to be removed. We just need to remove the majority of them. If you can see with the sun, the side's cleaned up pretty good too. The first thing I'm going to do is edge, so let's get that started. I am done with the lawn mowing. You saw that it's done. Let's kind of look at the lawn and see what it looks like. So as you notice, most of the leaves are all cleaned up. As I said before, I don't like leaves on the lawn because, you know, especially the big leaves that we have. Any of those big leaves are going to cause bald spots in the lawn. They're going to starve it of oxygen, and moisture can't get through. Creates fungus. I like to mow all of those up. So they're all mowed up. Now the lawn isn't as short as I'd like. This is really late in the year to be doing the last mow, and it was really long. So this is not a how to do perfectly for lawns. This is how I'm doing it this year with the time that I have. So I may end up mowing this one more time to take it a little bit shorter. Now the reason I'd like to take it shorter is we live in zone 6, and some years we actually get heavy snow loads. And if you have a long lawn, that leaves it more prone to snow mold the next spring. And that's just a fungus that can kill off the lawn in certain areas, you know, just because of a heavy snow load. So I like to keep it shorter because of that. So let's show you the dog run and then we'll get on to the fertilizer. So as you can see, everything's neat and clean and done, and let's go look and see what fertilizer I'm going to use this year. As I said before, this video is not the perfect way to take care of lawns, but this is doing the best with what you have. So this is the fertilizer that I used this spring, and I had plenty left. So you can see it's 1806. It's got nitrogen in it, and it's going to do just fine. Now the reason I fertilize in the late fall, just before the lawn goes dormant, is what the lawn is going to do is it's going to suck up all the nitrogen into its roots, and it's going to go dormant and hold it there and be ready for a flush of new growth in the spring. Now sometimes I actually even skip the spring fertilizer because the fertilizer I put down in the winter is plenty. This is the most important time of year. I would actually do it a little bit earlier, more mid-October, but you know, I'm getting it down. The last thing I'd like to show you is this contains iron and sulfur, which kind of helps with our alkaline soil. You know, it makes it a little more acidic and the lawn more able to take up some of the nutrients. Let's show you my spreader. This is the fertilizer spreader that I use. It's nothing special. It's something that I picked up at Home Depot. I've used it even with my own lawn company, you know, lawn maintenance company, and it's worked out great for me. So let's show you how I use it. First of all, I make sure it's dialed into the right settings, which I got off of the bag. I can actually use this lever so that it only comes out one side, but I'm not going to do that. I want it coming out both sides. And then the goal is to overlap each of my lines, and we're going to go both directions and overlap both times just to make sure we don't get any stripes in the lawn. So we got all the fertilizer down. Now the only thing I need to do is check the weather and see if it's going to rain anytime soon. If it's going to rain anytime soon, I'm not going to need to water it in, but I may need to sprinkle some water on the top if the rain isn't coming. The reason for watering things in is so that the nitrogen does not burn the grass. Now this late in the year is not as big a worry as it is during the summertime when it's hotter. Well, I'm glad you joined me for this lawn care adventure, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do like my videos, please like and subscribe, share it with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.